This is the Saiyan Sit Down. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Jared.
And on the Saiyan Sit Down, we talk about Dragon Ball
Z.
And today we're talking about episode 163. Trunks is letting Cell beat him. What's the reason for that, Jared?
Well, it's starting out here, if I'm not mistaken right now. Trunks is powering up still at the beginning, correct? And this is also the moment where Trunks' eyes go kind of white and Krillin's kind of like concerned. He thinks this is going to be a moment of, wow, this is Vegeta's son. He's about to go haywire, and luckily Trunks is not. So after he powers up, he tells Krillin to take Vegeta away. I love that, like a little puppy. Like, please take him away, far away. And Krillin is the one who had a sword to Vegeta's neck in the first saga that they met. So I love how we've turned to now Krillin is helping take Vegeta away.
Also how different Trunks is, whereas Vegeta, right, is all about pride. Trunks is like projecting humility and letting Cell think that he's stronger. It's like the complete opposite of what Vegeta would do.
I think that's why Trunks is such a liked character, is he's just so logical. And that does not mean he's perfect once again. He makes mistakes, but he just has a logic behind most of his things he does. I think he's just an enjoyable character to watch.
And again, so he deserves this transformation.
Oh,
I
100%.
really think, like, of all the ones that ever happened, it's like, this is really deserved.
Yeah.
And
he looks great. I mean, I had the toy of him where he's like buffed up, and like he just looks so cool. His hair is freaking just everywhere. Like, it is just, it's kind of like pre-Super Saiyan 3, and obviously we're not talking power, we're talking like look-wise. It's this like wild kind of look of a character, which like Super Saiyan 1 kind of has that of Goku, but they kind of like, I don't know what, clean it up. Later on it becomes this gold that kind of is just clean on them.
And in episode 164, he's still transforming.
Yeah,
so,
it's like he's so...
Which I love that, again, it shows you how much they care about this character to let him, have all this time. Like, this is, I'm shocked they do this in, I mean, spoiler, it's like an episode that he's fighting, right? But they give him so much time to make this transformation.
Yeah. Well, not this time for that, time for his backstory. I totally forgot Gohan. Adult Gohan shows up in you. I'm gonna be honest, he's fine. The movie, whatever, special version, that's the best version of Gohan we almost ever get as a character. Even in this flashback, he's not as cool. That version of Gohan, I don't know what they do in that special. Same thing with Bardock. They're just, whoever wrote those two specials understood what it took to make these unique characters that aren't traditional heroes in a way. But anyway, sorry.
No, that's good. I mean, this episode has a lot of flashbacks, and it's good for the showdown that, again, not only does it have Trunks' flashback, but it also has Cell's flashback to where he came from.
Yeah, Cell talks about his backstory, which was kind of like...
How can this only be an episode? This feels like the ultimate confrontation that, like, Trunks enabled this, the doom he was trying to prevent created this worse scenario.
I was going to say, in this Cell, he doesn't know that. Well, does he admit it in this one? That this is the one where he comes back and he's killed Trunks and took his time machine?
I don't think he says that.
He hasn't said this yet?
I'm not sure.
But, like, it is interesting because Cell is a villain that Trunks creates, which is so kind of cool. It's almost like the universe telling you, no matter how hard you try, you can go back in time. I will send another threat. Now, obviously, they're going to win, most likely. Hopefully, our heroes are going to win. But I like the idea that even time itself is trying to punish them by sending Cell back, which is a bigger monster than anything the androids could have ever been on their own.
And I like that as much as Trunks tried to get Goku's help and tell them to train around, he's the one facing this thing. And he did the training and all of this, and that's why I think this is the best confrontation in the Cell saga to me.
It's a really good one. It's a strong one. This was a super consumable little mini saga. Just like the Trunks episode, there's like 3 or 4 VHSs that you could get for this, and it felt so consumable. It is a small story. It is, Cell has just evolved. And now Vegeta and Trunks are here to clean up. And it's this like 12-ish episode arc that, while it doesn't tell a complete story because there are things before it you need to understand and things afterwards, it is still a fun little arc that really just moves along at a good pace considering how kind of slow the heroes are at this point because they're all buffed out and maxed out. What I like about Cell, why I think he's my favorite villain, is he's a Saiyan at heart though. He is the Saiyan of like the pride, and the way he battles is so Saiyan-like that I enjoy it compared to Boo is chaos and Frieza is this regal jerk. And to me personally, I think Cell is like, while he doesn't earn the power in the way that the other ones do, to be fair, Boo or even Frieza, let's be honest, he at least does something. He still has to absorb people. Whether or not, he still has to go out and do the work. Frieza's just super strong. Boo is just this magical being that is super strong. Cell had to work for this, and every time mine has to work for his power, except for Cell Max.
On the other hand, what I don't like about Cell is he's so close. He, like you said, he's made of all of them. The reason he's here is because of Trunks and because of what Goku did to Jiro. It's just all small because of that. The whole universe, like Boo, yes, they're in the middle of this huge thing between gods and being released in this ancient history. Frieza's galaxies, and for Cell, it's like no one else even knows he exists other than a town that he attacked. So,
but he would become, I mean, ironic enough, he would become probably a god of destruction, is what he's kind of aiming for. I think he was going to destroy other planets. Okay, let's go 165. This is our last episode we'll be talking about today. Vegeta's up and he is pissed per usual. He's not happy that his son is more powerful than him. He's not happy he lost a Cell. He's also probably very unhappy who revived him. It's Krillin. Like, man, you know you're having a bad day when a ball of little man's above you.
So Trunks, discovers what Cell meant with his cryptic comment about still being able to win because he's stronger but he's too slow.
Yeah.
I never liked this, by the way, as being that. Because, I mean, if he is more powerful than Cell, that's pretty good. Like,
it's pretty powerful.
And maybe with a couple other people and together. I mean, there's not many other cases where somebody's more powerful but they lose a fight in Dragon Ball. That's usually enough. I think we talked about it earlier, but the hubris of thinking that he had it in the bag, and in a way that it's different. It's slightly different from others. Like, he's still a threat. The foreshadowing, right? Because as he's realizing this, Goku is in the hyperbolic time chamber, also saying this form is not to my benefit. And maybe that's because Gohan's there or something, but he doesn't have that mentoring by Vegeta.
And I just want to make note, because I don't know if you said this, Gohan has now gone Super Saiyan by now.
But I think there's an interesting moment, like halfway through this, where you're realizing, like, Trunks, even strove to be slightly stronger than Vegeta, and like this is almost, I think they describe it like this is the ultimate peak form of what a Saiyan is capable of, right?
And a Super Saiyan.
Well, but it's the ceiling, right? It feels like they've reached a ceiling in a way that Saiyans haven't had a ceiling since early Frieza saga. Like, they're always getting more powerful and chasing, and they know they can get more powerful. Here, there is a moment where it's like, how can they break that ceiling?
Exactly.
And it's unknown. But by the way, Vegeta, so he gets revived by Krillin.
Yeah.
No Zenkai boost?
So let's talk about this super quick. I have talked about this online, and basically the writers gave up on this. This is the whole thing. After the Frieza saga, they don't care anymore. Like, if they get beat the heck out. Now, I will give an example that happened there. Cell does have one of those later on when Cell gets his whole body destroyed. No idea why that counts, but most of the time, for some reason, there seems to be no boost at this point when the normal Saiyans get really hurt, and then there's not, at least it's not significant enough for anyone to make a big thing about, besides Cell. That's the only time I can think about in Dragon Ball Z where that happens to Cell. When it happens to him, it does. And also Cell wants to give the Earth a chance, and basically Trunks gives up. Trunks just stops fighting. And it's like, you can kill me. He's like, it's fair enough. Like, I've lost fairly. And Cell was like, no, I don't want to have a tournament. And he's like, what? He's like, yep, I'm going to announce this little tournament. He's like, I love how he also even references, he's like, before you or I. I love the fact that even Cell's the main, this is the thing before him, and he wants to bring it back. I kind of like that. Because some villain could just come in and just take it out of the gutter and not even recognize there's a history there. Cell at least understands there's a history here. And if anything, I think he understands that's an Earth tradition, and he kind of wants to use an Earth tradition to beat them.
Okay, for a contrasting viewpoint.
Yeah.
So this was not the plan, but when Trunks is like, okay, go ahead and execute me, even the time we spent in the chamber wasn't enough. Cell's like, what? Chamber? And basically falls for the same thing that Vegeta fell for, which is like, I could have a stronger enemy.
He's the same.
And so this is his downfall, and the same way, and maybe Trunks knows what he's doing. I don't know, conspiracy theory, but the tournament thing happens, and they play the tournament music, and I remember even, I was like, all right, and skip to Boo. Like, this is where it loses me. I can feel the writer's room just like, let's bring back, the tournaments were fun in Dragon Ball. Like, it's just not,
I'm a big fan of tournaments. You're not a fan of tournaments. Like, I love tournaments. I mean,
hey, Tournament Saga a lot, but this is just like, it feels like such a curveball that has nothing to do with the way, the whole tone of this changes.
Fair. I mean, but at least it's not like super where every other arc is a tournament.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, this has its purpose, and I think you're right, it is somewhat nostalgia bait. But once again, I think I like the idea that, especially if they expose, I think it's Cell's mentality that he's bringing back humans' own tournament to beat them. I feel like if you look at theme-wise, you're correct. It's a lazy writing tool, but theme-wise, it could actually work for him as a person. Also, Cell just seems to be someone that would want to take one-on-one and show in front of the world that he's just more powerful one-on-one than any other fighter. Leave your guys' comments below about Trunks and Vegeta's fights here. Which one did you prefer? Like, did you like Vegeta all buffed up or Trunks? Like, let us know in the comments below.